The 2024 NFL Draft is coming up, and the best prospects from the SEC are going to be entering with Combine Day coming up. But wouldn't hurt to talk about 2025 for a little bit. We'll be discussing the best player at each position and who they compare to pro-wise. So, with that being said, these are my opinions as usual. So, if you don't like them, oh well. So, to start off, always we got to start off with the quarterback. To me, it's Carson Beck. He has that opportunity to have a Joe Burrow moment this year. Now, if you remember in 2018, Burrow started off, he was averaging close to just under 200 yards passing per game. Now, as the season progressed, when he got into the Alabama game and the Rice game and the Texas A&M game when they had 7 overtimes, you were starting to see some big numbers from him. And then you have the UCF game where he went off for almost 400 yards and 4 scores. That led to 2019, where he has the greatest season that any quarterback has ever had. I think Carson Beck will have a season just like that. I compare him to Joe Burrow simply because size and the frame. They both possess a great arm talent to be able to get better as the season progresses. You have elite receivers to pair alongside you. I think London Humphreys is going to be wide receiver 1 for Carson Beck in this offense. I think he's going to get the majority of your catches, and I think he might have a 12 or 1,300 yard season this year. And he has that opportunity to have a Joe Burrow moment when they play Bama on September 28th. That game could solidify himself as the Heisman favorite with the winner of that game between what should be a great quarterback duel between Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck. Now it's time to go to the running back position. I have 2. It was hard to pick the best player out of these 2, and I think it's going to be Marcus Carroll and Trevor Etienne. Let's start off with Trevor. He's so much like his brother. This year is going to be his season where he's going to get 35 to 40 catches total. He's going to be around a 500-yard receiving guy, and he's going to go for over 1,000 yards. He's the feature back this year. There's no Dewan Edwards. There's no Kendall Milton. The thing that Trevor Etienne brings to the table is his ability to be quick in the open space. He's much more utilized now. And if you remember, let's go back to whenever Travis Etienne was at Clemson. Before 2019, he had, 20 catches the entire 2 years that he was there before. And then he goes off for 40-something catches for just over 500 yards to go along with a 1,300-yard season, almost 2,000 yards of total offense. I think that Trevor Etienne could have an opportunity to do just that this year, especially when you talk about the type of talent that's around him and the offensive line that he's surrounded by. And when you pair in a great quarterback like Carson Beck, that's a match made in heaven. And now I have Marcus Carroll as well. The first time I ever saw Marcus Carroll was when they played LSU. This guy went off. Went off. I think he had just over 100 yards rushing to go along with 50 yards receiving on, 3 or 4 receptions. So you're going to see him utilize that a lot with Brady Cook as your quarterback and with the great offensive system that Kirby Moore brings with Missouri. This Missouri offense could be the biggest 1-2-3 punch that I've seen from Missouri in a while. When you pair along Marcus Carroll with Brady Cook and Luther Burden, we'll get to them in a little bit, you're going to expect a big-time offense with a lot of points being put up and a lot to look forward to in 2024. He's a perfect fit filling in for Cody Schrader. He brings the same dynamic that Trevor Etienne brings in the pass game. He's a great check down screen receiver, smart with the football, and has great footwork to go along with it. And as I've already mentioned, he has a great quarterback, is in a great system, and he has a great OC that has an opportunity to be a head coach someday in the future. Now let's go to the receiver crew, and let's talk about Luther Burden. Now, coming out of high school in 2022, he was compared to Amari Cooper, and so far, he's proven just that. Last year was the breakout for him. He's a big play receiver, a huge upside to him, Has the ability to come down with the football in one-on-one situations. He's clutch whenever he needs to be, especially when you get him close into the game. You saw it against Florida whenever he had that big reception that set them up into field goal range to keep Missouri's New Year's Six hopes alive. He's going to be the next great receiver to come out of the SEC. We've seen a lot of them. We've seen our share of the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons, the Amari Coopers. This guy is going to be the next one in line. And I guarantee you, when you have, like I've already mentioned, the best trio in the SEC could be Brady Cook, Luther Burden, and Marcus Carroll, all in the same team. That's a lot. That's a great offense, especially when you have an offense that is led by Kirby Moore, who was with Jeff Tedford at Fresno State, that was with Kalen DeBoer. And so you're asking yourself, how many points are they going to score per game? Missouri's a dark horse college football playoff contender. You're going to see them potentially in the 12-team playoff. In 26, we'll see what goes on from there. But for now, you're going to see arguably the best trio of offensive stars we've seen maybe since Alabama in 2020 when you had Najee Harris, Mac Jones, and an elite group of receivers. Now let's go to the offensive line. And to me, it's Will Campbell. Will Campbell has consistently been the offensive lineman to look forward to since his freshman year. Reminds me so much of when Cam Robinson was at Alabama. Now, if you remember Cam Robinson, that dude was a savage. He has the ability to maintain his blocks. He's an excellent cornerstone at left tackle for any NFL franchise. He'll be a top 15 pick going into next year's draft. I think that as the season progresses, he's just going to get consistently better. He's going to be a great left tackle for Garrett Nussmeier in year number 1. And you pair that along with the best offensive line in the SEC, there's no telling what's going to happen with this LSU team. And now finally, for the last offensive player, I'm going to go with Oscar Delp at our tight end position. He has a lot of big shoes to fill with Brock Bowers going to the NFL draft. But I can tell you right now, he can do it. It was the number 1 tight end coming out of high school, and he has an opportunity to be even better than Brock Bowers was. He's an excellent blocking tight end, has the ability to get to the second level and kick out screaming linebackers who are coming through the A-gap. He has a great double team. He's a guy that can get you short yardage plays, has the ability to pop out of the backfield and create some big plays for your offense. And I think he also has deceptive speed as well. I mean, you're thinking of tight ends, you're thinking of guys that are maybe running 4.6s, 4.7s. This guy can run a 4.5, I believe. I'm telling you right now, he is deceptively fast, and you won't see it coming whenever he does pop out of the backfield. With thousands of lines to bet on all your favorite sports, NFL, NBA, and college ball, check, and check. MMA and soccer, they've got all the latest odds, period. Take advantage of MyBookie's prop builder and live in-game betting where every single run, throw, and touchdown is another chance for you to put cash in your pocket. Visit their mobile-friendly website today at mybookie.ag and get your deposit matched up halfway to $1,000. Just use promo code SECU when you make your first deposit. And the best part, they make it very simple with a variety of ways to deposit instantly, including credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin, and more. March Madness coming up. NBA playoffs coming up. College baseball is back. It's never too late to get paid and start that new good luck to come out with MyBookie. Bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie. Must be 21 or older, not available in all states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. So let's go ahead and go to the defensive side of the ball and give you my picks. We're going to go over the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. So for D-line, I have James Pierce Jr., first-team All-SEC last year. Guy can play just about anywhere, and you saw it in the Cheez-It Bowl against Iowa. He can line up at defensive tackle, play that stand-up edge, and drop back into coverage as a hybrid linebacker. Reminds me so much of Chase Young, and let me tell you why. Whenever you see him coming off the edge, the biggest thing that you saw from Chase Young was speed to power. Excellent when coming off the edge, As soon as he gets his hands on that offensive lineman, he has the ability to literally almost bull rush him into the backfield. And when he does, you can forget it. You either have to get rid of the football extremely quick, or he's going to be eating lunch in your backfield every single time he gets there. He does need a little bit of help in the run game, and I guarantee you, if he puts on 10 to 15 pounds, this is a guy that can be a first-round draft pick in 2025. I think he's an excellent fit for Tennessee's defense. He could be the next great defender coming out. And remember, think of guys like that. You think of John Henderson, think of Albert Haynesworth, guys like that on the defensive line. He could be the next great D lineman from the University of Tennessee. Our linebacker, I got Harold Perkins. Now, some of you may think that, we don't even know. He could be an athlete or whatever. I'm going to stick him at linebacker simply because that's what he played mostly the last 2 years. So the first thing that comes to mind whenever I thought about Harold Perkins was Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. Simmons was a guy that could drop back into coverage. He played safety, but he's a guy that can really just come off the edge, beat you with speed, and get in the backfield. You saw it against Arkansas during his freshman year. Now you got a new defensive coordinator in Blake Baker who is excellent for sending pressure every time that their outside ends got lined up. You're gonna utilize him where he excels, and that's pass rushing. The run game as well. Perkins needs to improve with that. You saw a lot of times last year where they would run to his side and he would get washed off the outside. He'd lose containment. He didn't squeeze and spill really effectively to affect the run game. And offenses utilized that, and they played it to his advantage, which is why you saw a lot of times there were big runs being broken out onto the side where Perkins was lined up at. So, how will he improve in that? 2 words, Bo Davis. Bo Davis is going to help him out tremendously. Now, I know I put him at linebacker, but that doesn't mean he's still going to work out with defensive linemen as well. He needs to learn how to be effective in the run game as well, which is why if he's going to rush the passer, he's got to get better at preventing the run. And if he does that effectively, he's going to be extremely perfect for Blake Baker's defense. You're going to see him with a 10-plus sack season, and you're going to see him maybe within the first 5 picks go to whoever has the number 5, has a top 5 pick next year. So I think this guy has a huge upside, but at the same time, he has a lot to work on, but I see him more like an Isaiah Simmons. And finally, in the secondary, the best safety coming back in college football, Malachi Starks. Kirby Smart had a safety just like him named Landon Collins whenever he was at Alabama from 2012 to 14. That might have been the best safety that Kirby Smart had ever coached until Malachi Starks comes in. Starks plays just like Landon Collins, except he is much more aggressive and faster than Collins. Collins may have played more like a linebacker. He's much bigger than Starks. Starks has the perfect frame for a safety. He's very aggressive. He's a ball hawk, high football IQ. He's extremely fast. He can come downhill in the run. Great when it comes to open field tackling. You're not going to see him with a lot of TFLs, but especially when he comes off the edge, if he blitzes, it's over with. There's no running back that is going to be able to pick him up. There's no tight end that's going to be able to get out as quick as he can to prevent the blitz from coming in from Starks, which I guarantee you Kirby Smart is going to use a lot in 2024 with this kid. But at the same time, he also has to be much more consistent in the pass game, especially when he gets into one-on-one situations and the short underneath routes, because he can tend to break down a good bit. But this is a big opportunity for him to really expand. He was an All-American last year, and the biggest thing that he's going to see, he's got to see the field. He's got to be smart when it comes to dropping back into coverage and recognizing where the quarterback's going to throw to. And if he cannot get beat on the one-on-one situations, if he does, that's going to hurt his draft stock a lot. But if he improves over the spring, you're going to see him within the first 10 picks of 2025 NFL Draft.